part of the spiritual community, then one of the things that you may have heard of in the New Age, or you might be interested in, is the masculine and feminine energies. These two energies are within all of us. These are two polarities that permeate the whole universe. You can apparently pretty much put everything into a masculine and a feminine category. Hot, masculine; cold, feminine; light, masculine; dark, feminine. Yeah. Wisdom, feminine; intellect, masculine; pull, feminine; push, masculine. Yeah. We're supposed to have these energies within us balanced, okay, so that we can have healthier relationships, so that we can have much more exciting lives, you know. So it's a good way, a good thing, sorry, to work with if you are interested in spiritual development. You want to get these energies balanced within yourselves so that they can be expressed in a much more healthier way. You know, you could transform your relationships, transform your life from just working with these two energies. So I'd like to talk about, mainly I want to talk about our relationship with the masculine. So if you are a woman, a girl, a lady, you know, this may be of interest to you. It may make some sense to you when it comes to your romantic relationships. But even if you're a guy, then please, you know, stay tuned, because you may find it of interest as well, because you are masculine. And I am going to touch on the feminine as well. I am going to speak about feminine energy as well, because you can't really always speak about the masculine and not speak about the feminine. So one thing that I've got thinking about a lot actually recently is our sense of safety, okay? Our ability to feel safe. Yeah. I see safety as a very masculine characteristic. Yeah. And I think that depending on how safe a woman feels in a relationship can have a lot to do with how she may behave in that relationship with that man. So safety. Okay, so our early lives really determine how safe we feel in the world. We may come into this world and we may think it's a very safe place, and that means we have no trouble trusting life and trusting others. Or we may think of the world as a very hostile and dangerous place, and we may have a lot of difficulty trusting in the process of life and trusting in others. Yeah. So feeling safe, okay, I see this as a masculine characteristic, a healthy characteristic of a very balanced root chakra. The root chakra is at the base of the spine, the first major energy center, the Muladhara chakra. Yeah. So I see it as a very masculine chakra, okay? And if we are, let's say we're raised in a very abusive environment, or we're raised in a very impoverished environment, or, you know, there were problems with survival, then we may actually grow up and feel like as though, you know, we need to make ourselves feel safe. Yeah, because we didn't get that need met when we were younger. What we can end up doing is creating circumstances in our life, situations in our life that make us feel safe but are not actually necessarily healthy for us. We end up creating habits and patterns that can actually be quite toxic, okay? That can actually keep us stuck, keep us comfortable, keep us in our comfort zones, okay? It's like we're keeping ourselves safe from the big wide world out there, you know, and we just keep ourselves small maybe, you know, and hidden. And we choose not to make different decisions about our life. We're too afraid to take some kind of a risk in our life, yeah? Too afraid to change anything. We don't want to change anything because, you know, we're comfortable. And if we keep ourselves stuck like that, then we can stagnate and we're not going to then grow. Okay, we're not going to actually be living lives that are vibrant and full, yeah? What we really want to do is we want to feel safe enough, so safe that we actually feel really confident making massive decisions. We feel confident taking a risk in our life, yeah? That's the kind of safety we really want, yeah? So we're living fully, we're really living our lives. So these qualities, okay, structure, stability, security, safety, these are very masculine characteristics, and we haven't always integrated them within us. And so we have to examine our relationship to the masculine, because our relationship to our inner masculine is what is going to be mirrored to us on the outside in our relationships, yeah? The way sometimes these masculine qualities play out in us, it depends on our experience with the very first masculine in our lives, which would have been our father figure. And also the mother as well, because the mother has the masculine within her, and she would be expressing that energy a certain way as well. So that would also have had an impact on you and how you now choose to express the masculine in the world. So let's say the father was emotionally or physically absent from your life. And now if he was, then there is a good chance that you may grow up and feel more attracted to men that are emotionally unavailable, men that cannot fully commit themselves to you, men that are married, men that only want you for one thing, your body. Yeah, they only want you on a physical level. They're too afraid to get involved with you emotionally, yeah? So you want to look at, okay, what was my relationship with my parents like when I was younger? And we want to be able to heal this. And the way we're going to heal this is not to go back to the past. We can't go back and now change the way our fathers treated us. And we're also not going to try and change the masculine in our lives. We're not going to try and change our husbands or our boyfriends, okay? And we're not going to try and manipulate them, okay? So the way you're going to do this is to go inwards, okay? Spiritual development requires us to go inwards, to look at ourselves, to look at what have we not integrated within ourselves? What do we need to heal about the masculine or the feminine, right? Because whatever is going on inside here is what is being mirrored back to us in our relationships. So one of the things that I have noticed is that as long as you feel safe with your partner, you have no trouble opening up to him. You have no trouble being vulnerable with him. You have no trouble being intimate with him, okay? As long as you feel safe. But what do I mean by feeling safe? What does that look like? How is a man supposed to make you feel safe? Yeah, or how is your partner, meant to make you feel safe enough to be fully in your feminine, okay? Safe enough to feel like you can be vulnerable, you can be wild with this person. This isn't about the man putting on some armor and, being able to protect you, but protection is a masculine quality as well. I'm not saying that it isn't, but what I'm talking about here is how is it that a man could be behaving that makes you feel like you're not safe and makes you feel like you can't be therefore open with him? And one of the ways I've noticed that happens is neediness. Okay, I think that when a man is being needy, it is because he himself didn't get his needs met when he was younger. He's now trying to make himself feel safe and secure. And so therefore there's no energy for him to try and make you feel safe because he's too busy trying to get that from you, yeah? And so what ends up happening is sometimes this causes the feminine to pull away, yeah? This causes the person to pull away, to become avoidant. So I want to look at a scenario that is probably quite a common one that we experience in relationships. So let's say, let's say that you're with someone and you feel that your partner is becoming avoidant of you. Okay, let's say your partner is pulling away from you. What you have to do is look at, first of all, is it anything that you're doing that is causing your partner to pull away? Are you being needy? Are you being clingy? Are you being attention seeking? And if you're doing any of those things, then the way to heal that is to be able to step into a mature masculine trait. Because when you're being needy or clingy or attention seeking, you are in your immature feminine trait. That is the feminine expressing itself in a toxic way, or expressing itself from its shadow aspect. So in order for you to step into the more mature feminine, you would need to embody the opposite mature masculine trait. Now this is actually taught in this book here, The Inner Marriage. Okay, so if you're interested in balancing the masculine and feminine within you because you want to transform your relationships, then I would recommend getting that book. So the author of the book is saying basically that you're not supposed to be trying to not be something. So you cannot heal this by saying to yourself, okay, I realize I'm being this way, I'm being attention seeking, so I'm going to try not to be attention seeking. The way to actually resolve this is to always embody the opposite positive trait. Okay, so in this case it would be the characteristic of humbleness. And when you're able to step into humbleness, the idea is that you then are able to be more of the mature feminine of feeling self-assured. Okay, and when you're self-assured, you don't feel needy or clingy. You're pretty secure in yourself, yeah? So you want to maybe ask yourself, what does humbleness mean to you? Can you think of times in your life where you have felt humble, where you were humble? You know, where in your life did you find it easy to be humble? Now, to me personally, humbleness is that kind of feeling of you're so secure in yourself that there's no need for you to seek any external validation. Yeah, there's no need for you to feel right about something. There's no need for you to show off about anything. Yeah, humbleness. So you've got to try and embody that. That's how you heal this. Okay, so what if, now let's say that the masculine in your life that is being avoidant isn't anything to do with what you're doing. Now, if it isn't anything to do with how you're directing your energy, you're not being attention seeking, let's say, then what do you do? So then this is a case of you realizing, okay, well, I'm pretty self-assured already, so it's not because of anything that I'm doing that is causing this. But if you want to be able to heal this dynamic, you then embody because he's being avoidant, right? Because he's in his immature masculine right now, you then want to embody the mature feminine. And that is freedom and trust. Okay, and when you embody freedom and trust, you're then able to take responsibility and set boundaries. So this may be a situation where you need to set a boundary, for example. This may be a situation that calls for you to take some kind of action, okay, to perhaps say to yourself, okay, you know what, this type of relationship isn't for me. I'm worth more. I don't need to be treated like this. Perhaps he's being deceptive. Perhaps that's why he's behaving avoidant, because he's not being fully open and honest with me. And so you have to make the decision, okay, well, I don't want this for myself. I'm going to walk away from this, or I'm going to set a boundary and say I won't be treated that way, yeah? Freedom and trust. And the thing is, you could look at perhaps what freedom and trust mean to you. What does trust mean to you? Trust could be, you know, is that the same as truth? You know, trust, when you trust in something, you're able to fully surrender. You're able to expand. You're able to be open. Yeah. So that is a real mature feminine quality, to be able to do that. You know, trust could be about establishing a practice of truthfulness in your life. You know, being able to accept reality for what it is. And what about freedom? What does it mean? What does that mean to you? What does that feel like to you? Can you think of situations in your life where you have that sense of freedom? Is that about the freedom to choose? Is it about the freedom to be yourself? What does it feel like when you feel freedom? Does it feel like you're at ease? You're more relaxed? Is perhaps freedom about getting in touch with the deeper truth of who you are? Is it about being free of limitations, free of the things that are not true? We often choose to believe things about ourselves that are not true. Is it about seeing an all-pervading truth in everything? Is it about being able to go beyond illusion, going beyond the false sense of self? So once we actually embody freedom and trust, we take responsibility, we're able to hold space, and we're able to set boundaries. Now, what if what's going on is that your partner is the one who is actually being clingy towards you? Now, naturally, what's going to happen is you're going to then fall into your immature masculine, and you're going to become avoidant, and you're going to pull away. And this is what happens. This is what I was talking about before. When the man hasn't properly established safety in his life, then he can be the needy one and the insecure one towards you. And then you find yourself pulling away. But what are you supposed to do there? So you know that it's because of something that he's doing that's causing you to pull away. So then you need to then embody the humbleness. You want to be able to mirror that quality back to him. And this is how you're really facilitating each other's spiritual growth. Okay, you're trying to now lift him up. You're trying to show him what he needs to step into. Yeah, by embodying it yourself, you're mirroring that back to him. And this is how relationships grow and evolve, because ultimately this is what they're about. Yeah, we're helping each other to evolve. We're helping to raise each other up. So perhaps you've realized that there are a lot of these healthy masculine characteristics that you really need to integrate within yourself. Yeah, things like taking responsibility, being disciplined. So let's look at some of those. So when it comes to discipline, okay, you may want to look at if you're somebody who perhaps struggles to have some kind of structure or routine in your life. Are you someone who's very disorganized? You know, if that's the case, you know, you may need to do simple things like just setting reminders for yourself to get things done, you know, having a list or something. Or what about, you know, you could be someone who perhaps struggles to stick to certain projects. Yeah, that's like having a commitment issue then. So, you know, are you someone who starts things but then has trouble finishing them? Yeah, so this is a sign of there is that lack of that masculine quality of discipline. Taking responsibility. Okay, so a lot of our need to actually feel safe, I feel, can actually be resolved by recognizing where you need to take responsibility. And that's about where you're really being called to take some kind of action, but you avoid it. You avoid doing it. So it's things like, for example, right, you've got a job and perhaps lots of people are getting laid off in that job. And so now you don't feel very secure in this job. You don't feel very safe. You're not sure if you're going to keep that job or not. And that worries you about your future financial situation. So this is a situation where you could take some responsibility and you could say to yourself, okay, well, what can I do? You know, to make myself feel more secure about this situation, I could start looking for another job in case something does happen, in case I do lose it. I could start putting some money away. Yeah, so that's about taking responsibility, a strong masculine thing to be able to do. What about setting boundaries? Yeah, is there setting boundaries? It can sometimes be simple things like knowing when you've had enough of something, knowing when you've had enough to eat, knowing when you've had enough rest. You know, when have you had enough of a particular activity, knowing when to say no, when to stop, things like that. Yeah, taking the lead, yeah, or taking charge in a situation. Where do you need to do that? If you're a mother, you could be doing it, you're doing it with your children, right? Because you are leading by example. You're showing them, you know, how to respond consciously in stressful situations, listening attentively to their needs, you know, being present with them. That's a strong masculine quality as well. You know, the way you support them, support is a very masculine quality. And things like being able to apologize when you're wrong and having some integrity. And also keeping your word. How good are you at keeping your word? Do your actions align with what you say? Okay, so I feel like I've covered everything I wanted to say today. So thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you found this video helpful, and happy integrating your masculine.